Of the Mid-Ohio Valley's riverboat history is now on display at the I-77 rest area in Marietta. According to Taylor Abbott, board member of the Sons and Daughters of Pioneer Rivermen, the sternwheeler model is based off the Sunshine of Wheeling, West Virginia. The model is a creation of his great-uncle who built the model in the 1930s. Abbott explains that having this model in a place where many visitors pass through every day is important due to how deeply rooted riverboats are in our region's history.
When people come through these doors, I want them to be able to see that this is part of our history of this region. It's what made Ohio's expansion possible, because you had all these goods moving up and down the Ohio River on steamboats, just like the one behind me. And when you come through as a visitor, I want them to see that.
We will have more information on the model's sternwheeler and the history it represents in our online article at WTAP.com.